Hi, my name is Jonathan Hilberg. I'm an electronics editor at Reviewed, and today I'll be reviewing the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus. It is a Unisoc quad-core Tiger T310 processor, PowerVR GE 8300 graphics, which is a bit dated, but it is $99. 2 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gigabytes of internal storage. You can't remove that, but it does have an SD card reader, so you can upgrade that if you'd like with your own. 4,000 milliamp battery, 3.5 inch 640 by 480 pixel IPS screen. It's a touch screen. Bluetooth 5.0, micro HDMI out, so you can actually output to a TV or monitor while you're playing. USB-C, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, and dual band Wi-Fi. And this thing is, true to the name, very portable. It's about the same size as an iPhone 13. If you take the Switch Lite, for instance, which I already think is very portable, it fits into pants pocket, jacket pocket, whatever, fine. This is actually the same size as just the screen. So if you really want something that can play games all the way up to GameCube and PlayStation 2 on the go, this is the device you should get. As mentioned, it runs Android 9. So in addition to emulators, which Retroid preloads onto the device, they have their own front-end launcher too if you just want to play games and don't want to mess with any of the Android stuff. You can also install Discord, browse the web over Chrome, stream music, stream your desktop to the device over Steam Link or Moonlight, and again, output to a TV. So it's very, very versatile. You could actually use it as a, living room emulation station if you really wanted to, with a dock and pairing a Bluetooth controller. For such a low price, you might expect that Retroid would have skimped on the design a bit, but the attention to detail is very good in my opinion. Colorways are all retro themed. This one is based on the original Super Nintendo, and they also have a rainbow button one as well for that. It's ergonomic, despite the square sort of Game Boy design. The shoulder buttons cantilever off, so your hand naturally rests there. It has front-facing speakers, so you never cover them with your hand. And while playing, like I mentioned, because this is an older sort of Android chipset, you can run anything up to PlayStation 1, Dreamcast, Nintendo 64 just fine. PlayStation 2, GameCube will be a little iffy. I had some problems running those games, like never a solid 30 FPS despite my resolution scaling. Thankfully, the Retroid community keeps a frequently updated spreadsheet of which games run well, including, which slower GameCube, PlayStation 2 games you can actually 100% complete, even if there are some problems like, say, Paper Mario. The large community supporting this product is also very much appreciated. If you can't find the answer to something, I'm sure someone on the subreddit or the wiki page has the answer to that. That said, I did compare this to a Switch Lite, which I think is the closest competitor price-wise, because you can get one used for $120. Be warned that this is a 3:4 ratio screen. It is not 16:9. So if you run a PlayStation Portable game on this, which you totally can do, it'll run perfectly fine. There will be black bars on the top and bottom, taking away some very, very precious screen real estate. If you try to stream games to this from your PC, like I did, I tried running Control, Cyberpunk, some RPGs, Hades, you will not be able to see what's going on screen. Like Steam Big Picture mode, totally unreadable in my opinion. Natively, text is fine. You can browse the web, you can read, you can, use Discord just fine. Typing on it is fine as well, unless you have larger fingers. I don't, and I still missed one or two keys while I was playing around with it. But if you're mainly playing retro games like Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo 64, like I mentioned, then you'll have a great time with it. This is the perfect screen aspect ratio for that, and you won't notice any issues. Some other things I have noticed about this, some other issues, is that build quality can be a little hit or miss, which for some people would be a deal breaker, but I don't think the issues are large enough to warrant not buying it if you were interested. For instance, on my unit, the USB-C port is a little loose. So if you plug a cable into it and it's not really securely in there, it'll disconnect and reconnect over and over again. The front was a little scratched, not the screen. And Retroid does include a screen protector in the box for the system as well, which is nice. But some people on the subreddit have noted that their screens are sometimes too bright to fully dim. So if you're indoors playing at night, it can be a little annoying. And there are software fixes for that, so it's not that big of a deal. My unit does get bright enough to play outside in the park. I did try it. Some people have said that theirs isn't, but that's by and large minority. My biggest problem with this is that Retroid is undercutting themselves. The Retroid Pocket 3 uses the same chipset but runs Android 11, and Retroid promises that that delivers a 20 to 30% increase in performance just from software optimization. It uses a 4.7-inch 750 by 1334 pixel screen, so it's much better for streaming from online game services or a home PC. You'll actually be able to see what's going on. It can go up to 3 gigabytes of RAM, but it's also $20 to $30 more. Some minor things that I'm not the biggest fan of on this is that the buttons themselves, the face buttons, the YXBA, they're a little, I don't know a better way to describe this, crusty. Playing some Mario, I did miss a few jumps just because they felt stiff, but thankfully Retroid does sell pretty much every single component of this system on their website. They sell the touchscreen, the shell, PCB with a new battery if yours, dies, something happens to it. Different types of rubber pads for the face buttons and D-pad. So if you don't like how this feels, you can actually change it out yourself. They don't offer a warranty, so you'll probably be on your own if you do that, but you do have the option. So if you like to tinker, this is a great option. But if you're buying an Android handheld with the expectation that you want to play retro games on it, you probably are inclined towards that anyway. So overall, pros are provides excellent value for what you get. Throwback design is fantastic. The attention to detail is great. There's a Game Boy Color inspired launch logo that comes up when you boot it. And the performance is excellent for the price, considering how many other handhelds out there that have terrible performance for $100. The only cons are the small screen size, build quality can be hit or miss. I, again, didn't have issues, and Retroid is really undercutting itself. So should you buy the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus? Absolutely. Its biggest value lies in the fact that you will have a back catalog of thousands of games to play. Game Boy Advance, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Dreamcast, Sega Genesis, PlayStation 1, N64. Battery life is good. The functionality is good. The upgradability is good. Yeah, it's just a very solid all-around emulation device. Great for Android gaming as well. For the full review of the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus, go to the gaming section of reviewed.com, and thank you for watching.